Hi, I'm Jack, and welcome back because today I'm going to give you guys a review for a new movie in the Shrek franchise that has just been released by DreamWorks and Universal recently, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. It is directed by Joel Crawford, and it stars Antonio Banderas reprising his role as Puss in Boots himself alongside Salma Hayek, Florence Pugh, John Mulaney, Harvey Guillén, Olivia Colman, and many more. And with that said, let's get started. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish follows Puss in Boots as he discovers that he is now down to his last and final life, and his passion for adventure has seemingly took a toll on him. However, when he discovers of a wishing star that has one wish that will help him get his 9 lives back, he goes on a mission to find this wishing star and tries to get there before anybody else can get their hands on it. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a movie I've been looking forward to for a very long time. It has been 11 years since the first movie came out, and we haven't had a movie since then from the Shrek franchise, and I love the first two Shrek movies. Not so big on the third one. Thought Forever After was a pretty decent final chapter for the Shrek franchise, unless they were to make a fifth movie. So I was looking forward to this one nevertheless. I liked what got out of the trailers, and I was very curious to see what this next adventure for Puss in Boots has in store for him. So now that I got to see this movie in theaters recently, I thought it was great. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a great story about Puss in Boots trying to get his 9 lives back, and it has great antagonist, a compelling story, and a really powerful message. The voice cast here is fantastic. I love Antonio Banderas once again. He is still just as great as Puss in Boots as he always is, especially now that we're in a different phase of his life where now he's down to his last one. He's not quite the adventurer he was before, and now he's trying to do whatever it takes to stay alive, and I love his dynamic with everybody. I could connect with him, and he was able to convey it through his voice very well, and I was able to connect with him once again on another journey with Puss in Boots. And Salma Hayek, once again, is really good as Kitty Softpaws, returning from that first Puss in Boots movie, and she's so fun. I love how Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek play off of one another as their characters in this movie. There's a lot of funny moments with them and also heartwarming moments that I really like too. And then we have newcomers like Harvey Guillén, who was in a show like What We Do in the Shadows, one of my favorite comedies of the past couple of years, where he plays Guillermo, and he is here as Pero, and he is so funny. Obviously, the character took a bit to get used to, trying to get an idea on what his role in the story is going to be, but once this adventure kicks off and he's along for the ride, he is so great, and I really like him a lot. And we have John Mulaney as Jack Horner, and he is hysterical in this movie. I just love John Mulaney. There's a lot of funny things he does. He still has the comedic time and all the things you know John Mulaney for, but in a much more villainous role, and I really like what they do with him in the movie. And Florence Pugh, who I've been really liking in movies recently, like Little Women, Black Widow, even her appearance in Hawkeye and whatnot. She is another one of my favorite rising actresses recently, and I really like her as Goldilocks here, seeing a Goldilocks who will do whatever it takes to stop Puss in Boots from trying to get this last wish because she wants it, and for the reason she has and what she does with the character. Really like it a lot. It definitely has the resemblances of Florence Pugh's voice, even though she is someone who's really good at accents, to where she has different sounds in each of her roles, and I really like her a lot in this movie once again. And so the rest of the cast is really good. The animation is stellar. It reminds me of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where it's a combination of hand-drawn animation and CGI animation. Whenever we get to the action sequences, it reminds me of Spider-Verse. And it's really creative. It's a very different animation style, a little bit, than what we had in that first Puss in Boots movie. There's a lot of new, unique things added to here, and I love the animation throughout. Every character is well designed. I love the backdrops. It's creative. It has that fairy tale feel to it, and I love how it brings the story to life. The animation is fantastic. It's some of the best I've seen all year, up there with Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, or just a couple months back. It is such a beautifully animated movie, and I really like this a lot. I think DreamWorks has really done a good job with some of their animated works, a few recently, so I'm really curious to see what they have in store for their future movies because of what this movie was able to accomplish with the animation. This movie is also much darker and more mature than I expected it to be, and even more so than the first movie. We're focusing on Puss in Boots, who's broken, down on his luck. He's not as much of the adventurer as he once was once he got down to his last life. And it really focuses on what that does to him. How does he respond to it? And the villain of this movie, who is in the form of a wolf, and I won't spoil the identity of that character, is one of the most coolest and epic animated villains I've seen in a very long time. He is sinister. He is so cool with the design and what they do. And I love that we see a much darker story with Puss in Boots while still having the edge to make it family friendly for people to go see, because it very much feels like you're watching a movie about a broken hero trying to go on potentially one last adventure. And it's so cool how they pull this off. I really love this movie, surprisingly, and how it actually does what it did. And it's exactly what I like from movies like DreamWorks, what they would make. And so, really happy about that. There's a really compelling villain and a compelling story. And you have, as a whole, a terrific movie. And this is just one of the best animated movies I've seen in a very long time. The story is very good. It's well-paced. I was never bored throughout. It has all the things you would want from a movie in the Shrek universe, and it has a really compelling story about Puss in Boots. He's now down to his last life. And what does Puss in Boots do when he's down to his last life? How does he feel? How does he react to everybody? What does he do to get those 9 lives back? I really like what they do with this story. There are not character decisions or story decisions made where I was scratching my head. I think they did a really good job of telling this story in a way that's realistic, it's natural, and how it progresses these characters. It's a really good story with Puss in Boots and these characters, and I really enjoy how they brought it to life. It's easily the best story in the Shrek universe since Shrek 2. And the message of the movie is a really good one. It has a really strong message of living life to the fullest, because we only got one life, and it's up to us to use it very carefully and wisely. And this movie does convey that phenomenally. It's a really powerful message, and I really like how it was executed in the end. And even though the movie does have a little bit of a generic start to where it's still really enjoyable, just seeing Puss in Boots back for the first time since the first Puss in Boots movie in the big screen, I did like how we start off, but also where it continues and where it ends, the characters. And I really like how it resolves the whole story with each of these characters. And I think it's a very good sequel that's even better than the first Puss in Boots movie. And it's just a whole lot of fun. It's my favorite DreamWorks movie over the past couple of years. So overall, I really enjoyed Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. It's gorgeously animated, very well acted, and it is such a fun movie with a lot of humor, a lot of heart, great action sequences, and energy just felt throughout this movie. And it is by far my favorite installment in the Shrek franchise since Shrek 2. So in the end, I'm going to give Puss in Boots: The Last Wish an A-. I would be down for a third Puss in Boots movie after this, because I like the first one, but I really loved Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And I hope that DreamWorks can find a way to have more movies in the Shrek universe, or I would be happy if we can get a Shrek 5 with this animation style, because that would make me so over the moon excited for it. But DreamWorks definitely seems to be getting back on track. Their movies recently weren't the greatest, but this movie definitely seems like it's them trying to regain their footing. And because I love the earlier works of DreamWorks, like How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda and Shrek, I am really optimistic for the future of DreamWorks after this movie because of what this movie was able to achieve. So I hope you guys will go see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish while you can in theaters, because I think it's a really good time. It's definitely a great movie for you guys to go see during the holiday season. So yeah, that's my review for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Stay tuned for some upcoming videos I have planned. I'm going to have a review for A Christmas Story Christmas and a spoiler review for Avatar: The Way of Water, amongst other videos that I want to release as we are near the last couple of days of the year. And I hope you guys had a very happy holidays and a Merry Christmas with your loved ones. Stay safe out there, and I hope you guys are having a blast. And don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down below at the bottom of the screen and in the description below. So please go do that while you're at it. And thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. And stay tuned for more.